Alright, so I've already made a video on a beginner's guide to gaming mice. This video is going to be a beginner's guide to mechanical keyboards, and it's going to have a bunch of recommendations based on a bunch of different price ranges you might be in. So here are a couple things you're going to want to note. First, some really basic things. There's two types of keyboards. There's membrane keyboards and there's mechanical keyboards. Really, the only other important thing you're going to want to know are the three different switch types, which you probably know: tactile, linear, and clicky. And also the main sizes of keyboards we're going to look at in this video are 60%, 75%, and TKL. Linears are by far the most popular for games, but it's best that you try all of them yourself and see which one you like. Commonly, membrane keyboards are hated on because they're mushy and feel and sound bad, and they're found in cheaper keyboards. But there are some membrane keyboards that get really expensive because they have these special TOPA switches, like in the HHKB. But this video is mainly about mechanical keyboards, and there's going to be 5 different price categories, and we're going to start from the very most budget friendly ones and slowly move up to the most expensive. Each price category is going to have a couple recommendations in that price range. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about RGB because it's not the most important thing, but I'm pretty sure every keyboard on this list has some sort of RGB. Alright, so starting off category 1, we have the Redragon K552. It's TKL and it uses Otemu red switches, which are linear. The thing with mechanical keyboards is that you can't get as insane prices that you can on like gaming mice. Like the Razer Viper Mini is an insane mouse for $30, but at $30 there's not that many good mechanical keyboards. Redragon is pretty popular in Amazon's like budget keyboard space, and they have keyboards like the K552 and in a bunch of different sizes. It's nothing special, but if you only have $30, this is a pretty good starting option. There's a pretty cheap build and pretty cheap keycaps, but that's fine at this price. You can obviously always upgrade the keycaps later on though. In category 2, I would put the RK61. This keyboard is extremely popular because of its features. It comes in at anywhere from $50 to $70. It has 2.4 GHz wireless with a dongle if you need that. It's also hot swappable, which is really weird to see at this price. That means you can change the switches whenever you feel like it. If you just get bored of a switch, without needing to desolder, you just use the included switch puller. But if you're looking at the RK61, I would also recommend considering the Keychron C1. This one's also hot swappable and you don't get wireless, which I don't think too many people are bothered about anyway because the delay isn't ideal for games. The Keychron C1 just has better build quality, better higher quality keycaps. Even though they're still ABS, they're much thicker, and this keyboard will overall probably just last you a long period of time. Keychron's keyboards also move up into the third category because they have a bunch of different prices. The K2 is wireless 75%, which is my favorite layout. It's the most compact while still giving you function keys, arrow keys, page up, page down, and your delete key. You get the option for an aluminium frame, and it's still hot swappable, and the white backlight version of this keyboard starts at $80, and it's $20 more to make it $100 with the RGB backlight and the aluminium frame. I do think the aluminium frame is probably worth it for most people. It's going to make it last longer, and it just feels way more premium. In this category, we also have the glorious GMMK2. I currently use the GMMK1, but I don't recommend getting this keyboard fully built. The GMMK2 has improvements like the keycaps being higher quality, a better font, and the switches are the glorious Fox linears, which are much better than the Gateron Browns that came with the GMMK1. This is also hot swappable, and it's a floating switch design, and it comes with a bunch of different sizes, way better than the ones that are on the GMMK1. It has a 65% layout instead of a 60%, so you keep your arrow keys, and also has a 95% layout if you still need your number pad instead of having a full-size keyboard. But these layouts make the shift key smaller, so be careful. If you're buying aftermarket keycaps, you need to make sure that they have compatibility with a 1.75U shift key. In the fourth category, we start getting into the custom mechanical keyboards. We come back to Keychron, and there's 65% Keychron Q2. This, I think, is one of the best keyboards for its price, even though it's really expensive. It has the option for a knob in the corner for volume controls or anything you want it to be. You can customize all of this in the QMK firmware, which you're probably not going to be bothered to use because it's a bit more complicated than a big company's RGB software. It has a really high quality aluminium build and gasket mounting. Basically, in custom keyboards, you can start choosing your mounting style. There's gasket mounting, but there's also tray mounting, which basically every off-the-shelf keyboard uses. Gasket mounting basically just gives the keyboard a much more kind of bouncy typing experience. They also have the Q1, which is a 75% version of this keyboard, but it doesn't have some of the internal acoustic changes that were made to the Q2. The differences aren't that big, so just get whichever one you want based off the size. Glorious also has their GMMK Pro, which is a direct competitor to the Keychron Q1. Here, the gasket mounting is famously implemented a little poorer than the Q1 because of the tightness of the case, meaning you don't get as much of that bouncy experience. So out of the two, I would probably recommend the Q1 because of the typing feel and the sound, but it's down to your preference because you might prefer the build quality and the aesthetics of the GMMK Pro. Alright, but that's about it. That was 4 categories of keyboard prices you might be into, with some recommendations in each one for anyone who's new to the mechanical keyboard space. This hobby goes way beyond the things I mentioned in this video. I barely touched on some of the details like different more premium switches you can get, or truly custom keyboards that you need to sign up for group buys and pre-orders, but this video for now is just made for beginners, and I do eventually want to start making some custom keyboard content. But anyways, thanks for watching.